Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Amber Slocum, and I am having a bad hair day. I work with a lot of people and myself as well, who are neurodivergent and kind of help them plan out their lives and working on just using strategies that work for me. I am, just so we're upfront, I'm autistic and bipolar, and I have a ADHD. So, a lot. It's a lot, is what it is. And we are going to talk a little bit about how to plan your holidays, how to create a unique holiday experience for the people in your lives. And we're going to talk about how to manage all of that, especially if you are neurodivergent, without losing your flipping mind. There are a couple things that I have put together for you. A is a cheat sheet from what we are talking about today that will be available. And also I've put together a cute little planner to help you all kind of manage all of the things. So I will show you all of that as we go. But first I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the holiday. So in our house, and this is not going to be the theme of this by any means, you can absolutely adopt this to Christmas. But we celebrate Yule in our house. We are pagan and it's super fun. Like I said, I do not want this to be about paganism at all or about Christianity at all. But whatever holiday you celebrate, you can adapt this to that holiday. I do want to point out a book that has helped me immensely in finding new traditions and new ways to celebrate the holiday. And then also just to really figure out what the old ways of doing things were, as well as some of the new traditions that people have pulled together. And there are a set of books. This one is Yule specific, and they have one for every pagan holiday there is. But there is a lot of like old, you could use a lot of this for a Christian holiday because Christianity was brought, basically pulled together a whole bunch of pagan religions and a whole bunch of pagan traditions and adopted them as their own, which is cool in a lot of ways. And it meant that when I dropped my Christian upbringing, I got to still hold on to a lot of my traditions. And that was the part that I was really struggling with, to be perfectly honest with you. These are Llewellyn's Sabbath Essentials, and it's on the cheat sheet. So if you are interested in these, like I said, they have a whole set of them. But that is something that I've gotten a lot of our holiday traditions from. Gosh, I'm so sorry. We do a couple of different things that are unusual. So when I was growing up, my mother has lupus. And if you're not familiar, it's basically a disease, autoimmune disease that attacks your muscles and joints and your immune system, basically, and causes your body to attack itself in not good ways. And so we didn't always follow the same traditions. Like we sometimes we had turkey, sometimes we would do a roast, sometimes we would do ham. The last couple of years, I have personally made ham. It's one of my favorite things to eat around the holidays. I love ham. And it's the only time of year we have enough people in the house to justify getting an entire ham and cooking it. So I've done that in the past. And what I kind of wanted to talk to you about is the first year that we had this house, and we've been here now going on 5 years. and we've hosted Christmas every year that we've been here, and it's been great, but it was not something I had ever done before. And so it was extremely overwhelming the first year. And the second year, I vowed to make it different and not have the same experience. And that first year was even more different because we had an extra 4 or 5 people in my house that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And cooking for an additional 5 people is a lot. So there was that. And like I said, it was just chaotic. And by the time Christmas Day rolled around, I was so burnt out that I didn't enjoy my day. And I didn't want to have, sorry, hopefully you didn't have to use the bathroom. I didn't want to have that experience twice. Should have used a different cup this morning. I didn't want to have that experience twice. So the second year, I made sure that I planned ahead. We also broke the bank that first year. So I really wanted to make sure that not only was I prepared financially for that time period, but also physically. So I wasn't spending 2 full days in the kitchen and trying to pull everything together last minute. Some of the things for the meal do need to be done the day before or 2 days before. But what I found is that if I spread all of that stuff out, I spread out when I was buying things, how I was buying things, and when I was making things, etc., everything got easier. Okay. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about how to create a unique experience for the actual gift giving aspect of it. And I'm going to give you some ideas on really cool gifts to give yourself. And I've also put together an ebook filled with over 80 different gift ideas for different people, right? So I've kind of created these profiles of people. So you have the water drinker and some really cool stickers and really fun, a really nice water bottle, one that I've had the coffee version of that water bottle in the past. And the water bottle, it will keep things hot for 5 or 6 hours or more. So I'm confident that the water bottle will hold cold water for at least 24 hours. So awesome stuff. And we're going to kind of go through that a little bit. And, if you have people who are witchy friends, there's a whole profile for them and some really neat gifts. And nothing, if I recall, except one thing I think is over $30. Most of the stuff is really cost effective in that book. So, and then there's one, I spent a lot of time on that book. The writer is an amazing, cool gifts for writers. So if you have a writer in your family, I highly suggest that book. I am selling that ebook. I think it's $5.99 right now. So nothing crazy, but it's got some really cool stuff that you would have to scour the internet to find, because I did. Highly recommend that book if you're in need of gift ideas for your friends and family. And I might actually reduce that cost to $3.99. Yep, we're going to reduce that cost of the ebook for the gift giving guide to $3.99. Need to write that down so that I can change it. So when I put that in the description box below, it will be the right price. Okay, so that first year I bought everything all at one time and I broke the bank because I had like $300 worth of food in my cart and I hadn't even bought food for that week. And it was too much. Like, we were strapped for cash after that. And so I vowed to not do that. So what I've started doing over the course of like from basically next week, I'll start it. I'll buy the 4 cans of green beans that I need for the green bean casserole. Then the next week, or maybe I'll buy everything I need for the green bean casserole tomorrow, or next week. And then the following week, I'll buy what else could I buy? Honestly, I could buy the cream cheese then as well. So what I've done in the past is I've basically sat down and created my menu, and we generally now have the same things every year because everybody likes the stuff, and it all gets eaten. Thank you, printer, for deciding that now is the time to do that. Apologize if you heard that. Basically, I'll sit down and I'll create the menu. And maybe we change something, maybe we don't. Maybe this year Santa really wants brownies rather than the cookies that I've always made. Maybe I have a 10-year-old, so he's kind of starting to figure it out, but he's not quite there yet. He's still not sure. And I love that about him. I really hope that he holds on to Santa Claus for as long as humanly possible. I'm really sad because he's starting to figure some stuff out, and I'm like, oh no, it's the beginning of the end. However, he's still there. So, we still make food for Santa, and we set it out, and then we give Santa his Christmas whiskey, and everything is good, right? So we'll set that out, and then we will have what else? I usually do, okay, so apparently some people call these funeral potatoes. They have never been funeral potatoes for me or to me. Our family always called them Thanksgiving potatoes because that's when we had them, was Thanksgiving. So we have the Thanksgiving potatoes, we have green bean casserole, we have ham, and then my mother-in-law will make sweet potatoes for my husband and the family. And so the only thing that I really have to make sure that I have is the stuff for the funeral potatoes, which is a lot. It's 20 potatoes. And so we have a 10-pound bag of potatoes. So basically, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write out the meal, and then I'm going to have the recipes available to me. What I've done in the past is put them into notes, Apple Notes, so that I can pull them up on my computer, I can pull them up on my phone, I can pull them up on my iPad. So I have in the kitchen one of those items at all times, and sometimes two of those items, so that I don't have to keep walking back and forth across the kitchen. So the cheese is going to have to be bought closer to, the ham has to be bought closer to, and the potatoes have to be bought closer to. But other than that, the rest of the things are relatively shelf stable. I didn't realize how shelf stable cream cheese was, but it's pretty shelf stable. And my son and I will go through and figure out what we're going to make for Santa. I've always made M&M cookies, and I absolutely love those cookies, but I'm kind of M&M cookied out. So I think this year we might do something like brownies for Santa, or because everybody loves brownies, like nobody eats those cookies but me and my kid. And we could do cinnamon raisin cookies, or oatmeal raisin cookies, that's the word, and things like that for the family to eat something sweet after the fact. So that's likely what we'll do with that. So I'm going to plan out my menu, and like I said, I will actually just go ahead and share that screen and show you. Okay, so we've got our menu, and then we have time to plan out our activities for the year, or for that time frame, because as well as I do if you have kids, that your kids being home during that time, they're either going to be vegged out in front of the TV, eating all the snacks, or if you have some activities planned for them, then you have that ability. I've given you a place to have a grocery shopping list, because what I would do when I was doing all of this, I'm going to use this year, but when I've done this in the past, what I've done is have everything in notes. So I plan out the meal, and then below that, I'll have the grocery shopping list in a checklist format so that I can just check things off as I buy them throughout the next few weeks or months. And then once it's time, and you could use this not just for Christmas, obviously, you could use it for Thanksgiving as well. If you just wanted to print these couple pages out. The other thing that I would do is make sure and sit down and plan out when I'm going to be doing these tasks, because that is huge. So when it came to the cookies, I would make the cookies a week or 2 weeks in advance. I'd roll them up in balls and put them in the freezer, so that all I have to do on the day of Christmas Eve is pop them out of the freezer, plop them onto a cookie sheet, and cook them. Everything else is done. They've sat, they've hung out, they've risen, they've done whatever they've got to do. And the only thing that has to happen is they get put in the oven and they're done. And then the oven is free. And I do that in the morning. So then the oven is free the rest of the day for the ham and the potatoes and all of that stuff. And then even the potatoes, I cook those the day before, and they're day or two before, and they're just in the fridge. That's it. So the only thing that has to happen is I pop them out, pull them out, I put the layer of cheese on top, and I throw them into the oven to warm up. But they are made the day before. One year I did little hot cocoa packets, like I made a mix that you could use at home. And I made that, the week before kind of thing. Actually, I did it 2 days before. That was the first year, and nobody wanted it. I haven't done that, but if you have a family who loves hot chocolate, I highly recommend making your own hot chocolate with cocoa and everything else. It's so good. That Hershey's cocoa is delicious, and the cocoa that you make with that mix and milk is so yummy and so rich. It's way better than Starbucks, and I highly recommend it. So the other thing that you could do in here is also plan out your gifts and your gift budget. Isn't that Santa adorable? Let me open this up. So what I've got here is your list item, your budget, what you actually spent, and then your balance after you've spent. And then at the very end, you're going to actually tally up what the total was you spent, because I think it's really good to understand that. And then your food budget is the same thing, but it's got a candy cane on it because it's adorable. So your to-do list, you have your item, and then, whether you've done it or not. And your gift list is there, and your grocery list. So all of this stuff can be used pretty easily to pull everything together for you. Now, let's talk about gifts, because that is, well, let's talk about the rituals that we do at Christmas time in order to, or Yule for us. So we don't we have a couple of things we do that night. I really wanted to do something with a ritual, and it's pretty fun. We basically give everyone who joins us a couple of strips of paper, and we have a Yule log that we decorate, and then we burn everybody together. One of the family members brings over a log, and then we decorate it with stuff that I bought, like evergreens and holly and things like that, oranges, etc. all go on the Yule log, and then we put it into the fire. And the next year we have part of the Yule log for the year ahead. And it's just something we've done, and I love it. And it's one of my favorite parts of the night. The next part that we do is actually to pull everybody into the room. We have strips of paper that I hand out to everyone. And what this last year, I did it a little different. The first year that we did that, I just had everyone write an intention going into the new year, something they wanted to let go of. They could do either one. And then you could read it aloud, or you didn't have to. But you throw it in the fire, and the actual act of burning that allows it to come to fruition. And last year I gave everyone 2 pieces of paper, and on one you were supposed to write something that you wanted to let go of, you wanted to release, you wanted to not carry into the new year. And then one that you did want to carry into the new year. So it was something that you wanted to foster. And everybody loves this tradition. It's like one of their favorite parts of the night. And I give everybody about 5 or 10 minutes to write and really think that through. And like I said, they can read it or they don't have to. And then they throw it into the fire. Like they sit down, they read the intention either out loud or to themselves, and really think on it thoroughly, and then they can release it into the fire. It's very powerful. I love that part of the evening. And then we do some gifts, obviously. So for our family, I try to follow a short system, right? So the idea behind Yule is that there are 12 gifts for Christmas. We don't always do 12 gifts, but I try to do at least these 6. And then everything beyond that is just cake and gravy, right? But these 6 we always do. I do something to wear. So he gets a whole, and this is mostly just for my son. Something to wear, he gets a whole outfit. He gets something to read. I have a list because I got to remember them all. Something to read. I try to get him either a book series or have someone get him a book series, or just one book. We do something to create. So last year or the year before, he got air clay, and he loves that air clay. Like we have little air clay creatures all over the house. This year for create, I think, last year I got him a coloring, an actual drawing book, because he'd been drawing like crazy on this old notebook I had that was lined. And I was like, no, you need the real paper. So I got him that, and then I got him a huge set of colored pencils. So we got him that. And then one year I think I got him some crayons too. So something to create. I think this year I want to get him, I haven't really thought about it yet. I gotta figure that out. Air clay was such a hit. I might do that again. But we got him for his birthday a notepad that is that black paper, and when you scrape off the black, it's all rainbow behind it. He brought one of those home from school, and he was so excited about it. So we bought him a whole notebook for his birthday, and it's just been super fun. And I had my mom get him some drawing books on drawing. So that's fun. We get him something to play, whether that be a board game or a video game or a video game set. Like one year we got him a Switch because he'd really been asking and asking and asking for one. And then the following year, or the following last thing we get is something to sleep in. So we always, every single person in the family, I make sure everybody has a new set of jammies going into the new year. That means a top, a bottom, and if you need slippers, we'll get you slippers as well. And everybody loves that. We do that on Christmas Eve in the morning, and then we wear them all day, and then we wear them the next day because that's what's up. and it's a lot of fun. I love getting new PJs. That's like my favorite time of year, and they're always so nice. And I get to splurge on myself on PJs, and I just really enjoy that. And my husband usually gets me a pair of PJ pants too, and he's pretty good at it. All right, so what else can you do? Like, how can you create a unique experience at Christmas time? Like, what else can you do? So, one way that I've thought about doing for the 12 days of Christmas, so like if you had the time to actually give gifts every day for 12 days. I just have a hard time with that because he's in school and he's not going to be able to play with it, right? And I like him opening the gifts all at one time, and he can kind of play with them a little bit that day and through the next couple days, kind of thing. We've thought about doing, or I've thought about doing a scavenger hunt. So basically, with clues, and then you're directed somewhere, and that gift is hiding in the house. And this is fun and sounds like a lot of fun. Make sure though that you actually create a map and or a list of where you've hidden the gifts. Otherwise, you might forget. If you have autoimmune brain like I do, or ADHD brain, you'll likely forget where those gifts are hidden. Ask me how I know about this. During an Easter incident where there were real eggs hidden in our house. Thankfully, we tore the house apart and we found them, but I learned to never, ever, ever do that again without having some kind of a list of I hid the real eggs here, because the plastic eggs that have candy in them, not a big deal. The ones that are hard boiled and colored eggs, that's a big deal. The smell would be awful. Anywho, just make sure that you create a list if you're going to do that. Another way to do this would be to create some really cool gift tags. And on each gift tag, you put a number, and you've got them in a list. I've given the example of, let's say you're buying for the writer, and you get them a really nice notebook from there's a notebook company called Yop and Tom. They make amazing, amazing notebooks. I've actually listed them in the cheat sheet. So make sure you get that. But let's just say that that's one of your gifts. And then another one of the gifts is a really beautiful pen set. And another gift is some writing prompts. That is actually in the gift guide. So you want to get that if you're interested in that. And then one of the other gifts is like this really cool map for writers to help you actually create locations within your novel or your book. I'm telling you that gift guide ebook has some badass gifts in it. But anyway, let's say that those are your four of the things that you're giving this person, and you want them to open them in order, right? So maybe the notebook is last because that's or the map book is last because that's such a cool gift. And then the third one is the notebook, and the second one is the writing prompts, and the first one is the pen set. So within those gifts, you could write 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back of those so that they know the order in which to open them. You could also do craft paper, wrapping paper, which A is recyclable, so yay. And B is a blank canvas, which allows you to draw or use stamps or do some really cool things on it. But let's say also it would allow you to go to, say, Michael's and get some stencils of a font that you really, really like. and then you could put the numbers, color them in really cool patterns or things like that. Just get really, really unique with those. And it really offers you my husband does not wrap gifts. Like, he does not wrap gifts. You will get the Amazon box, and that is it. And I'm okay with it, because what he normally does, especially at Christmas time, is he will actually decorate the boxes with all kinds of cool things. I think we have a box somewhere in this house that has an AT-AT and a an X-wing like flying in, and then there's a snow speeder coming this way. Like, he created this whole Star Wars scene, and there's things shooting down, and there's dinosaurs involved. It was crazy, but it was hysterical, and I absolutely love that about him. He is super nerdy, and he likes to show me all the nerdy things that he can draw. And that makes me super happy. We're perfect for each other in that way. But you don't have to wrap the gifts. That's what I've learned. That's what my husband has taught me, that I don't have to wrap the gifts. I sure do like to wrap the gifts, but I don't have to. I could make this my own thing. And I am thinking this year we might do craft paper with some fun drawings and things like that on it, because I really want to do something unique this year and really shift it around. What to take you back to the budgeting aspect, what I would do is create a budget for yourself. Like, really sit down and go, okay, how much realistically can I spend on one person, or on each individual, without breaking the bank? Add those totals up, and then divide that by when you're wanting to have these gifts bought by. And then what you're going to do is basically start. The other thing I'm going to put together for you guys is an envelope cover. So you can have something for Christmas, like Christmas savings or something like that. And then I'm actually going to, by the time you actually see this, it will be linked below. Little Christmas savings trackers, so that when you put the dollar amount in that you're wanting to put in there, whatever that is, you can actually color in. It'll probably be stockings, to be honest with you. Don't forget the stocking stuffers. For our house, I tend to do an orange or a banana, or not a banana, sorry, an orange or an apple. I've also done pomegranates, because they're in season. So oranges are in season, pomegranates are in season, apples are just out of season, but you can usually find them still. I also usually do a candy that they would like, or for my husband, he doesn't eat sweets. We do like peanuts or jerky or something like that. So something that you know that they'd like. It doesn't need to be extravagant. We never ever do that. And when we do the Santa gift, Santa usually buys the create gift. So we have something to create, or the books come from Santa. Simply because the expensive stuff, the really expensive stuff, I want him to know that we worked for that really hard for that. And then that way, if he's got classmates in his class who are underprivileged and maybe didn't get anything or didn't get a lot from Santa, he is in there's no gloating there. Nobody can feel bad. He can't feel bad about that, and he can't make anybody else feel bad simply by talking about what Santa got him, if that makes sense. Plus, it's really important for me to teach him that these things cost money. And so for Santa to just bring him an orange and some snacks is a lot easier to explain than why Santa would bring somebody else a robotic, the little remote control cars. No, not remote control. little cars that you can drive around, and why he would only give some other kids socks. It's just a thing I have. So you could do a lot of different things with gifts, and I think that there are some really cool and unique ways of doing that. If you were to get somebody a water bottle, this is in the cheat sheet. They make these really nice wine boxes. That's what they're called, is a wine gift box. And there's going to be one, I believe. I don't think it's actually. Nope. I didn't actually link it, but there are some really cool wine boxes on Amazon, and some of them, if you type in magnetic wine box, there are some that have a lid. My tarot deck, if you have the Wild Unknown tarot deck, actually has that same thing where there's a magnet on the main part of the box, and then it's magnetic shut. Those are really nice and can be reused for any number of storage things. I love those types of boxes because they're nice and they work really well for a lot of things. You can jam a lot of hair ties and things in there, or makeup. Let's see. Michael's and Amazon are a really good place for gift boxes. You just type in gift boxes. Oh, Target usually has some really cute gift boxes that you don't even have to wrap because they're colorful. They had one that was a rainbow, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. Really nice gift boxes. Just make sure that you're measuring what you are trying to put in them so that you know that it'll fit. And let's see. I believe we've covered it all, to be honest with you. If you are interested in getting both the cheat sheet and the planner, let me know. Actually, those links will be down in the description box below. If you are interested in the Christmas savings tracker, that is also below, as well as the envelope, like the little cover. It's just basically a label. For your envelope, those two are going to be printable downloads. You'll print them and then cut them out yourself. If you make the label on cardstock, you can actually use the back of that to track what you've actually spent. So instead of using my tracker within here, you could actually use that one, the back of that, as an option as well. And then it's all in one spot. You'll know where the money has gone once it's out of the envelope. And trying to think about what else to, if there's anything else. A lot of banks actually have, especially credit unions in particular, have Christmas savings accounts. So that might be something to look at too. They actually penalize you if you try to take your money out. So maybe that's a bad idea, because you might find yourself in a situation throughout the year where you really need that money for something because an emergency has happened. So I don't necessarily recommend that, but if you know for a fact that you have a really solid savings account that you will not have to dip into, or you can dip into, and you'll cover anything that could possibly happen, then the Christmas savings accounts at the bank might be a good option for you. All right, guys. I hope that this has helped. I hope that this kind of saves you from having an absolutely insane holiday, and I hope that you guys have a good day. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. I'll see you guys later. Bye.